We are a bit late to the party, but let's hop on board with Max Scavenger only 4/10 ahead of Fridge in the Audi. He's going to be trying to put his silver-colored car in the mirrors of Max Scavenger, hoping to maybe allow him to make a bit of a mistake so Fridge might be able to get through. He was, quite far off in qualifying, but in terms of race pace, at the moment, they at least seem to be somewhat matched as they head into the two long straights on this track. Very difficult to manage the battery here, and so we'll see Fridge already, as I say this, Fridge running out of battery on this straight here, so going to be at a bit of a disadvantage here, especially if Max does have more battery, which it does seem like he does. He pulls ahead by 2/10 as Rory goes into the pit lane 44 seconds behind. He probably has an issue of some kind. Gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That, folks, is not something that you want to see as we head into lap 3. Fridge still just biding his time a little bit here, maybe just trying to stick with Max to run away from Lily from AT&T and the Red Bull behind. So Max moving off the racing line, maybe thinking that Fridge might have had a run on him, but it doesn't seem to be the case as they pass the lapped car of Boilers Fan going down the second straight here. Fridge maybe, just biding time here. Actually quite close on this occasion, going through the chicane here. He is right on the gearbox of the Haas in front at this point. So Max may be making a bit of a mistake, leaving himself open to Fridge, especially if he has battery. Let's get that telemetry pulled up so we can see Fridge on 25% battery going down the straight, maybe just saving a little bit, hoping that Max is gonna waste his battery going down this straight. Let's see if that's the case. Oh, that is the case. Max only on 7%, Fridge on 45. He's gonna have a massive run on the Haas here. Can he come from 8/10 back? It's quite a way to go here, but the other thing too is he's going to have a massive battery advantage, I believe, going into the end of the lap. So maybe there's still some something in it here for Fridge, even though he was quite off in qualifying. Guys, I'm getting a track map pulled up so I can actually call out the corners as they head down the main straight. Fridge is 2/10 back, only 1/10 back, almost alongside here going into turn 1, but Max just has a little bit more top end, covers him off as we have a yellow flag on track. It seems like Boilers Fan has spun out once again at the back of the field, so he's got it parked up on the track at the moment. Is that going to bring out a safety car? It does not seem to be the case. We're still going racing here. Fridge again on this occasion, just right on the gearbox of Max and the Haas. Max's pace, seemingly falling off significantly from qualifying. Fridge with a massive run here. Does he have the battery to make it stick going into turn 9 here? He's almost alongside, but once again, just not quite getting lined up perfectly. But he does have a battery advantage here. Can he make a move? Maybe. Only 3/10 back, going down the straight here. 2/10, 1/10. He's alongside, breaking into turn 11 here. He does have the lead of the race. What a audacious move from Fridge to take the lead here. That was fantastic. Moving his silver and orange red Audi up into first place on the 4th lap of this Grand Prix. Now, does Max have any sort of response? He will have overtake this lap, so the roles are going to be switched around a little bit. Fridge limited on the amount of battery that he can recharge and deploy, while Max is going to have that slight advantage here. So will that sort of switch things around a little bit here? Or does Fridge actually seemingly have the better race pace here? Both of them are on the medium tire, so we're not looking at any sort of massive tire advantage here unless Max has somehow cooked his tires in such a short period of time. But let's kind of run down the order here and take a look at the rest of the grid. So we've got Fridge and Max, our two front runners, running on mediums. Behind them, 3 seconds back, we've got Lily from AT&T with legitimate EX. Actually, there's a battle going on. See if we can't get on board here. Oh my god, we have a 4-way battle for third place here as they go four cars in a train here through turn 9 and turn 10. Now going down the straight here, but the Cadillac out of battery, you know, maybe somebody behind chancing a move. Doesn't seem like there will be a move made at this opportunity. However, the Mercedes of Shawarma is very, very close to Limerence's Red Bull. The Silveraro's Mercedes just hanging out for now, just right behind him. But with how close he is, I mean, he's going to have an absolutely massive run on Shawarma in front of him, or on Limerence. So let's maybe ride on board and see if we can get this this overtake captured, but not quite on this occasion. Doesn't seem like. Maybe down this straight here, does Limerence have the battery to defend? It does seem like for now he does, as they head into the chicane of turn 3 and 4. But with Limerence and Shawarma both having overtake on, you know, this. Oh, why is it not working? There we go. Oh, okay, here we go. The Mercedes of Shawarma going around the outside of Lily here on the straight, going into turn 9. Can he make the move stick? Let's see if Lily has any battery to spawn, and he does not. Limerence maybe just using a little bit too much battery and now getting caught out a little bit as Shawarma now sets his sights ahead on the Cadillac in front. Let's hop on board with him and see kind of the battery levels here. 0% battery for legitimate EX in the Cadillac. So once again, the Mercedes of Shawarma on a bit of a tear at the moment. As oh my word, Fridge has been forced off, maybe made a mistake of some kind, but Max goes through back into the lead as Fridge tumbles down the order to 5th place. A disastrous run for our race leader. Now stuck behind the Red Bull of Limerence. You know, what in the world? It is a shame that we didn't get that captured, but let's ride on board with our two drivers fighting for the lead here. Legitimate in the Cadillac and Max in the Haas, now re-inheriting that lead after that mistake from Fridge, or incident from Fridge. The Cadillac having a bit of a run here, but choosing to stay back for the moment as they head down the main straight, or down the straight here going into turn 9. Excuse me. The Cadillac just biding his time a little bit, maybe saving some battery, while Max ahead. They have about a 10% battery advantage, but obviously with that overtake, he is going to have a better chance of gaining and deploying some battery here. A little bit of a misshift there, but now 9/10 back from Max Scavenger. He's going to have to cut this gap down if he wants to retain overtake for the next lap. Going into turn 11 and turn 12 here to round out the lap. He has closed that gap down to just under 7/10 here as they go into the final complex of corners. So but Max Scavenger maybe getting overtake here on the V-carb in front. It does not seem to be the case. However, the lap traffic does give out overtake, so that is something to keep in mind as Boilers fan just goes straight on there, seemingly forgetting to brake, as our two leaders once again are just going a little bit, you know, the Cadillac kind of just poking his nose in. An audacious move here around the outside as they head into turn into turn 5, now going up to turn 6. That was a brave move, but all of this squabbling between the two front runners. Oh, as we have a virtual safety car, I believe, on track. But all of this squabbling, as I was saying, has brought Shawarma right back into contention for the lead here. So with the virtual safety car, I believe it's a full safety car now. So with a full safety car coming out, this is a bit of a crossroads here on the strategy. Constipated with the Cadillac, unfortunately, and Efizzle and Nicholas in the McLaren and Williams, unfortunately, kind of in a bit of a tricky situation here. You know, the safety car not exactly coming out at the time that they needed it to. And so now all the medium runners, Max Scavenger, Legitimate, and Shawarma, Fridge, Limerence, all of our front runners here have a big choice to make. Do you stay out on these old mediums and gain the track position, or do you go into the pit lane to get a cheap pit stop? Our leader goes into the pit lane, followed by the Cadillac, followed by, I believe, the Mercedes, followed by Fridge, who's maybe chancing a move into the pit lane. very brave from him. You know, careful not to pick up a 10-second penalty here, but seems like all of the cars are just filing into the pit lane here, except for maybe the McLaren of Nicholas staying out on his old hard tires. So he will jump a few positions. I don't think he will get into the race lead, but crucially he does come out in front of Limerence in the Red Bull. So Limerence in the Red Bull on these fresh medium tires will have an advantage early on. However, unfortunately, coming out behind the Papaya McLaren on these old hard tires is going to struggle a little bit to maybe get past him and then start putting pressure on these front runners on hards. The medium's not, you know, will only have so many laps before they start to go off. But another advantage that the medium runner will also, that the Limerence will also have against all these hard runners, is that these hard tires are going to be a nightmare to heat up. So off the start, everybody here, you know, maybe going to struggle a little bit on these fresh hard tires. It does not seem like any of them are deciding to weave or, you know, do any tire warming, which is surprising considering the fact that these tires are going to be, as far as I'm aware, ice cold. But let's pull up our telemetry here, and maybe we can actually get a better idea of the tire temperatures. And no, I don't want to install an update. No, I'm good. Pull up our vehicle status here, and we can see the tire temperatures. So riding on board with Legitimate, his tires are sitting at about 140 degrees Fahrenheit on the fronts. Let's see Max Scavenger, about the same, and then we can go down the rest of the grid here. Shawarma about the same. The McLaren of Nicholas, staying out on those older hards, does retain some more tire temperature for the time being. And then Lily behind with around the same temperature mediums. However, those mediums going to fire up significantly faster than the hard tires of the people around him. But Fridge doing a much better job of warming his tires up, having a almost 5-degree advantage. No, almost a 20-degree advantage as compared to these front runners who are not warming their tires. As you can see, I'll pull up the telemetry here. You can see Fridge's tires are at 151, 156 degrees on the front left and rear left. And if we look at our front runner of Max Scavenger, whose tire temperature is similar to the rest of the grid here, only 133 degrees Fahrenheit. So a 20-degree temperature swing. That is going to be absolutely huge for the race restart when we get going again here, likely at the end of this lap. And so these hard runners really at the front making a big mistake not warming these tires up. I mean, 130 degrees is far too cold for these tires to actually operate properly. If we look at our temperature range, I do believe that at Australia they have access to the C3. The C3's operating range in Fahrenheit starts at 185 degrees. So sorry for all the pausing. I'm trying to get all of these tire information pulled up so that way I can kind of keep you guys informed as to what's going on, as the safety car does come in this lap. So we shall see what happens here. I'm just pulling up some more data to share with you guys as we wait for the safety car restart here. Riding on board with Max Scavenger, his tires only at 126 degrees Fahrenheit. Fridge behind 144, so still having that big advantage. Lily from AT&T 140 degrees, which the medium tires in this situation he's only about 20 degrees off from the operating window of those medium tires, wanting to get to about 167 degrees Fahrenheit. As we round the final corner, Max Scavenger going a little bit, getting caught out a little bit actually by the Cadillac. Maybe Max hesitating a little bit, but the Cadillac behind jumping at the opportunity to come alongside. As we head down towards turn 3, the Cadillac maybe chancing an opportunity to come around there, but Shawarma gets a little bit of rear locking, maybe carrying a bit too much speed, and slams into the back of the Cadillac. It does not seem like there's any front wing damage, but that was a bit of a naughty move from the Mercedes there, just out braking himself a little bit going into turn 3. As they now head down the straight going towards turn 9, our front runners having dropped Lily from AT&T behind on the mediums. That is an absolute disaster for him. If he cannot stay within that crucial 1 second overtake window, he is going to be in trouble for sure. And Fridge even more so behind as well. Just dropping back, not going to have the overtake crucially, which is just going to cost them a significant amount of lap time unless these front runners start to squabble a little bit. Max Scavenger heading into the final part of the lap with only 33% battery. The Cadillac of Legitimate on the precipice here of not getting overtake, so he needs to kind of pick up the pace here as we have a Mercedes or a McLaren going off into the gravel. Nicolaus just having a bit of a tour of the runoff there as he drags that gravel all over the track, possibly, you know, making a little bit of a tricky condition over there for some of the drivers, especially with the no assists that is going on. But crucially, the Cadillac of Legitimate EX has retained overtake and therefore will have a massive pace advantage as compared to the Haas of Max Scavenger. So crucially here on lap 12, only 12 laps in to this 29 lap race, the Cadillac getting very close, going through, I believe that is turn 6 down towards turn 9 here, the straight mode opening up, but he's completely out of battery. He's going to be a complete sitting duck for Shawarma behind. Shawarma with a little bit more battery to burn here, so he comes sailing past with no issue whatsoever. However, coming down this next straight, Legitimate EX with 21% battery, a little bit more than Max. Maybe we'll see a little bit of yo-yo here going down into the final part of the lap here, but it does not seem that the stars have aligned for the Cadillac to come back through. So for the time being, your order in the front is the Haas of Max Scavenger, Shawarma in the Mercedes, and the Cadillac of Legitimate EX just kind of holding position, holding station for now. But Fridge, having gotten past Lily from AT&T on the mediums, is trying to get back into that crucial 1 second window as he sets the fastest lap of the race. Those hard tires firing up quite well for Fridge after just a couple laps here. These hard runners just now starting to get into the optimal window. Legitimate EX now finally getting up to 190 degrees Fahrenheit. As we have into the yellow flag, there is a Ferrari, or sorry, the Audi of Secret Cape has spun in the first corner. A bit of a disaster for him. And he has, unfortunately, he does seem to also have some front wing damage, which is just absolutely a shame. Let us see. Yep, I can see some significant front wing damage on that Audi, but let's get back up to the front here, not to miss out on some crucial overtakes here. Going down into turn 9, Shawarma with 0% battery, maybe a bit vulnerable to Legitimate here behind. He's Legitimate only 2/10 back. They burn everything going down this straight. Legitimate has a bit of a run here, but once again, just choosing to stay behind, maybe thinking to himself, if I go alongside here, we're going to lose some time to Fridge behind, and if we let Fridge back into the overtake window, that's going to be a problem. We have a McLaren stopped on track. Is that going to cause any issues? Is he going to be able to get going again? I can see his art marker staying still. Oh, just starting to get going again as we head down the start-finish straight here. Shawarma just barely retaining on that 1 second gap, now dropping actually out of the 1 second gap. Very vulnerable to Legitimate behind, both of them on the same amount of battery here. So Legitimate going to poke his nose in around the outside going into turn 3 here. Who's going to be braver on the brakes here? Shawarma kind of going a bit deep here, so maybe allowing the Cadillac to get a little bit of over and under on him there, and he does pull that off. What a great move from the Cadillac of a Legitimate to get past there. But crucially, do have an issue. They are once again teetering on that 1 second gap. Max with maybe not enough battery to break free here, but crucially is already 1.5 seconds ahead going down the straight here. Oh, we're going 3 wide into turn 9. The Audi of Fridge trying to come through on the Mercedes of Shawarma. A fantastic battle that we are getting treated to here as they go 2 wide down into the final part of the lap. Again, a little bit of contact slowing Fridge down and leaving him much more vulnerable to limerence behind. But the Cadillac still on the gearbox of the Mercedes in front. Shawarma still retaining that second place even after all of the scrapping that took place on the last lap. But crucially now 2 seconds behind Max Scavenger, now kind of letting him scamper away with the lead. Shawarma in front in the Mercedes not going to have overtake on this lap, so he is going to have quite a bit less battery to deploy and recharge, which could leave him especially vulnerable to the cars behind, who are going to have overtake now at this juncture. So Max Scavenger in front, retaining a bit of an advantage here going into the just after the halfway point of the race here on lap 15. If he can maintain this gap and just make sure that they can't get back within 1 second, then he should be pretty much golden to sail to the end of the race. As you know, as I say this though, that gap dropping down to 1.5 seconds for just but a moment, maybe a little bit of an incident for Max, or maybe he's saving a bit of battery, which it does seem to be the case, because that gap has now increased to another second as these guys go side by side again into turn 9. The Cadillac getting ahead of Shawarma, using that overtake very, very well to use get an advantage as now Fridge in the Audi is thinking about maybe sending a move here, getting a little bit wide here, not exactly forced off, maybe just running a little bit deep. So the Mercedes of Shawarma keeping the position for now, and all the while Limerence sitting in the back of his purple and blue and yellow and red Red Bull, just sitting there saying, wow, this is a fantastic battle. Maybe licking his chops a little bit to see maybe if these guys come together and take each other off track, he can just come straight through for free. Those medium tires maybe starting to feel a little bit slow compared to the hard runners in front. We are starting to reach that crucial crossover period where the hards start to become faster than the mediums. So Limerence on the mediums, not exactly getting the advantage that he would have liked to see out of those tires. Certainly it would be a tall order to take those mediums 20 laps all the way to the end. So Limerence likely to pit again, while the hard runners in front here may not necessarily have to come in for another stop, as the gap now in the front increases to 2.7 seconds. These guys in the back battling, scrapping once again, but the positions remaining stable here into turn 9, unlike last lap where the Cadillac went soaring through on Shawarma. But importantly, legitimate out of battery, Shawarma out of battery, Fridge also out of battery, all of them out of battery going into the final part of the lap. Fridge is once again ahead at the apex, and he does manage to stick the move around the outside this time. A very, very textbook and fantastic move from Fridge, as he's now going to set his sights ahead on legitimate EX in the Cadillac, and hopefully saying to himself, I hope I can get past here very quickly, because every second that we spend scrapping, every second that we go side by side, Max Scavenger in the Haas just gets further and further away. In just 2 or 3 laps now, the gap has increased from just not put 1 second to almost 3 seconds here. These guys burning their battery to battle each other is just giving Max a chance to set some consistent laps, lift and coast quite a bit more, recharge battery, save some fuel, save his tires, and maintain a pretty big pace advantage. As Fridge gets a little bit squirrely there on the exit. Have to be careful not to spin there as the tires start to go off it a little bit as we pull up our data once again. Let's not get lost in the sauce here, and make sure that we actually have our data pulled up, so that way I can give you guys some better commentary. This is my first time ever really doing this seriously, so you have to bear with me for the stuttering and whatnot. But let's hop back on board. We've got Fridge going down into turn 11, has actually overtaken the Cadillac. So like I said, crucially important for him to overtake that Cadillac, and saving quite a bit of battery here for the start finish straight. Let's see what each of the cars are doing in terms of lap time now. Fridge now not having that overtake mode, so it's going to come down to whether or not he can manage his battery better as compared to his competitors behind. Fridge doing a 121.499 last lap as compared to Max Scavenger's 121.930. So crucially, Fridge lapping a little bit faster at the moment. Now, whether that was from overtake mode or from a raw pace advantage at this stage of the race remains to be seen. We'll have to see over the next coming laps here, but he's not quite out of the woods yet. Still having to think about the Cadillac and the Mercedes filling his mirrors, as well as the Red Bull still just waiting in the wings a little bit here, dropping back crucially into a further than 1 second window. So maybe not waiting in the wings anymore, maybe managing his tires, and maybe thinking here, wait, if I go to a hards now, or maybe to another medium set if that's what he has, that I can undercut these guys and I can park the bus and put up the Great Wall of China going into the last part of the race here. So let's see what happens. The gap to Max has come down a little bit, only about 0.2 since the last time that I checked, but Fridge out of battery on this occasion, having to give a little bit of a lift and coast here to get some battery back. as the Cadillac of Legitimate does have overtake and will retain overtake going into the last part of the lap here. 60%, almost 70%, yep, 70% battery going into this final corner. But the gap between Fridge and Max Scavenger is coming down. Let's see the lap time that they do as Lily does come into the pit box to undercut the leaders at this crucial stage of the race. Obviously, the leaders on old hard tires, maybe they may not necessarily have to pit again, but will Lily's pace advantage on these fresh hards be enough for him to maybe crawl back up and have an advantage here towards the end? To give you the times from last lap, Fridge at a 121.856, Max Scavenger and the Haas a 122.155. So that gap is starting to come down, even though over the course of the lap, depending on the deployment strategy and things of that nature, the gap might fluctuate a little bit. Crucially, we are seeing that Fridge is putting in about 0.3 a lap faster than Max Scavenger, and so in a couple laps time here, maybe we'll see a four-way battle for the lead starting to unfold. This Fridge just seems to have a little bit more of a pace advantage as compared to the Cadillac and the Mercedes behind. Pharma almost getting dropped on this occasion. He's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit here if he wants to stay with the top front runners here and retain that crucial overtake mode. As we head into the third sector and into the 13th corner of the 19th lap of this race, it's been a fantastic one so far. Lots of battling, relatively clean as far as I can tell. So these guys all racing each other very well. These guys are all mostly friends with each other as far as I'm aware, so no bad blood between them. Let's look at the lap times last lap. Last lap, a 22.176 for Max Scavenger and a 121.8 for Fridge. Once again, a little, just a 2/3 advantage. If they remain like this, I do believe that Fridge will catch before the end of the race, and so we'll just have to see. Let's have a look at the tire wear actually and see if maybe I can glean some insight from that. I do see that Fridge is on 37% on his front left tire. Let's look at Max Scavenger. Max Scavenger with much better tire wear actually at this point in the race, as we have a yellow flag in sector 1. A McLaren Nubbers has had an incident of some kind, I believe. No, Nicolaus, the lapped car, having some sort of incident, getting turned a bit round and now rejoining the track right in front of the, what is this, the Cadillac of I constipated on fresh mediums here, so he gains a position there. Checking back in with our front runners here, or I guess our second place runner, hunting down Max Scavenger for the lead. Fridge in the silver and red Haas, or silver and red Audi, I should say, rounding the final corner, heading on to lap 21 here. Let's take a look at the lap times once again to give you an idea of when this battle might be taking place. Fridge doing a 22.26 and Max doing a 22.8. So maybe Fridge's tires are just starting to go off a little bit here. Yeah, it's certainly starting to go off a little bit as Legitimate EX comes through for that second place behind the Audi of Fridge going into turn 5 here. So these cars starting to battle with each other again. That gap to Max Scavenger likely going to increase on this occasion, unless the Cadillac of Legitimate has some sort of pace that he's hiding. But it doesn't seem to be that way because Fridge has a little bit of a run on him going into turn 9. They're going to go side by side once again, giving up more time to Max Scavenger in front. Maybe saying to themselves, screw it, we're not going to catch Max Scavenger, so let's fight now for what we've got. As Nicolaus picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits warnings, and I believe going off once again in the first corner. Secret Kate coming into the pits to boot on some fresh mediums. A little bit late, I think, to come into the pit lane, but maybe his tires falling off a little bit quicker than he was expecting. Let's see what the gap ends up being after this lap. Let's see what kind of lap time these are doing. Maybe pushing each other, fighting a little bit is actually giving them a bit of a hurry up versus Max Scavenger. No, they are matching each other's times at this moment. Fridge doing a 0.236 and Max Scavenger doing a 0.267. So the Audi and Haas lapping at almost the exact same lap time here, but crucially Fridge was having to battle on that last lap, going side by side with the Cadillac. So while on the last couple of laps we haven't exactly seen a good pace from Fridge, crucially there is a yellow flag here. Nobody allowed to overtake, of course, under these yellow flags. A McLaren stopped on the side of the track kind of screwing over the cars behind with overtake, because now they're going to be, during the course of the yellow flag, they're not going to have access to that crucial overtake button. Their dial going to turn yellow and reduce their output, and so everybody kind of gets reduced down to the same deployment level, whether you're in front, whether you're in behind, just for just that moment, which does compromise your speed, as deploying battery at the start of the straight is very, very crucial. But coming into the third sector here now on the 22nd lap, we have another yellow flag, as the McLaren of Nicolaus has once again had a bit of a moment into turn 9 and turn 10. But rounding the final corner to enter lap 23, Legitimate EX has a very, very high battery charge compared to Fridge, who has almost nothing. So let's see what these guys can do against each other here. Once again, the gap not exactly coming down too much. Fridge was faster by about a tenth on that occasion, so this gap's still coming down a little bit. However, this battling into turn 3 here is not going to help either of their cases very much if they're trying to look for this win, as the Cadillac goes through. Maybe, just maybe, in a fantasy world, these guys are actually cooperating with each other. Maybe the Cadillac of Legitimate saying, hey, I'm gonna come through on overtake and I'm gonna drag you along for the rest of the lap with some slipstream, and then on the next occasion you're gonna have overtake and you'll come past me. As he deploys the battery down to 0%, Fridge having once again another run on him. We've seen this one before on the outside going into turn 9. They're side by side. Who's going to take the lead coming into turn? Who's going to take second place? It does seem like the Cadillac does retain the position for now, but Fridge going to have another go at it here going into turn 11. He's on the outside. We've seen this move from Fridge before, as he gets it done slam dunk on the straight here. No reason to go side by side into that corner. Well done on the battery management from Fridge here. Shawarma behind, picking up a penalty, so he's unless there's something crazy that happens, he is out of the contention for anything other than a 4th place. So let's have a look at the gaps here, the deltas on this lap once again. Fridge matching Max Scavenger's time does make sense because they are battling with each other, so it does seem like if things stay the way they are, we do have a Audi stopped on track in between turn 4 and 5. It does seem he managed to get going again. But if things stay as they are in this situation, and these guys do not start smartly trying to focus on hunting down Max, Max is just going to casually manage to run away with this. Fridge on 51% on his front left tire. Max Scavenger 20% lower. So Max Scavenger just managing his tires quite a bit, going to have a massive advantage here. But it seems like Max has maybe made a mistake, because he is down to only 1.2 seconds here. If he allows Fridge and the cars behind to get into his overtake, crucially, that would be a absolute disaster for him. Obviously, he would have the tires to then defend from these cars, but you know, as anyone can attest, when they're leading a race, you just want to be able to turn your brain off and just chug in laps until you can get to the end. You certainly don't want to have to think about 3 hungry drivers behind you just licking their chops, waiting to see if you make a mistake and absolutely bottle it all. And so the gap is down to 1.3 seconds here, so Max, you know, needing to pick up the pace here a little bit. Otherwise, these cars behind are going to come into that overtake zone, and crucially, that is going to be a problem. With Fridge going, or Max Scavenger weaving to the inside for seemingly no reason, maybe just to break the long toe that he's giving down to the Audi and the Cadillac. As Shawarma seems to have had some sort of incident. Is that Mercedes missing a front end plate? Oh, it is missing more than a front end plate. He's got a bit of wing. No, just a front end plate. As Legitimate gets past Fridge once again, the gap between Legitimate and Max only 1 second is now under a second. So if things stay the way that they are, we are going to have a 3-way battle for the lead in the last 4 laps of this race. What a crazy result for the first round of this No Assists Chronic Racing League series. Going down to turn 9, Fridge having a bit of a run. We've seen this. Stop me if you heard this one before, folks, because we've got Fridge maybe chancing a move around the outside. Maybe thinking, hey, we're actually caught up to Max Scavenger here. I'm going to sit behind and recharge some battery here and actually allow you to catch up to Max Scavenger, so we might have a chance to get to the lead here as we head into sector 3 on the 25th lap. Legitimate and Fridge going to have about 4 laps here to chance a move for the lead of the race. Fridge is going to have overtake. Legitimate is going to have overtake. Let's take a look at the battery levels. Everybody is about equal, plus or minus about 10% between all of them. but is Max Scavenger going to be able to hold on to the lead here? Legitimate in the Cadillac is very, very close going into turn 1 here. He's going to have a massive run here going down into turn 3. He is hiding inside of the gearbox of Max Scavenger in the Haas. They're heading, barreling down towards turn 3, but the Cadillac of Legitimate, oh my god, sneaking around the outside, maybe having a bit of a snap, going side by side through turn 4 into turn 5. The Cadillac getting a little bit wide as they head into turn 5, but the Cadillac taking the lead after a bit of a squirrely exit out of that chicane, but a fantastic move done around the outside from Legitimate as he moves up into the lead of the race. Fridge behind, also looking at sizing up a move here. This is fantastic. This is fantastic racing. They're going to go side by side going into turn 9 here. Oh my god, the Cadillac losing out because he ran out of battery. Fridge and the Haas going side by side here going into turn 9. Can they keep it clean? Hopefully they don't crash into each other. The Audi of Fridge losing out on this occasion as we head into the third sector, but coming back around here on the outside, maybe the Haas burning a little bit too much battery as they head down into turn 11. Oh my word. And then now the Cadillac is coming around the outside, but he decides wisely to back out of it. That could have been an absolute disaster for the Cadillac and the Haas. The last thing they want to do at this stage of the race is ruin their race and hand the win over straight to Fridge for no reason other than the fact that they were maybe rushing a move. So let's hop back on board. Sorry for the pause. Fridge leads this race going into lap 27. I mean, it feels like every lap we have a new leader at this point. The Cadillac of Legitimate maybe sizing up another move here going into turn 3, wisely staying back at the moment, not chancing another move around the outside like he did. That was certainly brave on the last lap, but he is hugging the gearbox of Max Scavenger's Haas, the red and white Haas, Ferrari powered Haas. Maybe he's a little bit down on power as compared to, well, they have the exact same engine, so I don't know if that would be the case. But as we head down towards turn 9, let's check battery levels here. 25%, 0% for Max Scavenger, so that could be a problem going down this next straight, especially if Legitimate gets a good run. Max Scavenger sizing up maybe a move on Fridge, but has to back out of it because he doesn't exactly have the straight line speed. But that's going to invite the Cadillac of Legitimate to maybe get a bit of a run on him here. Does not seem like that is the case at the moment. We do have an Audi going slow on track. Secret Cape having another moment. Right as the front runners are coming through here, maybe crucially, could Fridge get overtake off of his teammate? No, it does not seem that that will be the case as we head into lap 28 of 29. This is a fantastic race that we're seeing here, guys. We head into lap 28. The front runners separated by less than a second as they head into turn 1. All of them playing nice and tidy at the moment. However, Max Scavenger getting a little bit on the grass here. That's going to invite Legitimate EX in the Cadillac to have a bit of a look here, maybe just getting into his mirrors. Max Scavenger does get a little bit of a lockup there going into turn 3, but for the moment they are going to remain as they were heading on to this penultimate lap. Max Scavenger with quite a bit more battery. Oh no, they are actually, Legitimate is going to have a lot more battery here going down this straight, so perhaps Legitimate EX going to size up a move on Max here for second place. And all the while Fridge in front is absolutely loving these battles, absolutely enjoying these battles, as every second that they're battling he's not running away, but Max Scavenger burning all of his battery maybe to try and chance a move around the outside or on the inside, but not there for him. That's going to leave him very, very vulnerable to the Cadillac behind. Maybe the Cadillac, not knowing that he has more battery, making a brave and snappy move to the outside, but not quite coming past on this occasion. Let's have a look at battery levels here going into the final lap. Legitimate does have about a 10% battery advantage going onto this straight, so maybe he could chance a move here if he gets a better exit. All the leaders still separated by less than a second as Audi once again gets spun around. Did that give Fridge overtake? No, it did not. Max Scavenger still with overtake despite the yellow flag. Heading into turn 1, he gets super far on the grass. That is going to absolutely give the impetus to Legitimate to chance of a move here. Max Scavenger defending the inside, compromising his line through this corner. Maybe the Haas thinking about another move to the outside. Not quite on this occasion. Let's check the battery levels once again. They are dead even on battery. This is just going to come down to who is a better driver, who can defend, who can attack better, as we ride on board with Max Scavenger in the random pod cam that is not one that you can use in the game, but they are separated by only 2/10 here. Only 2/10 heading into turn 9. Fridge in front with 28% battery, Max Scavenger behind with 0% battery, so Fridge is going to hold on to the lead at this occasion. However, Max Scavenger is quite close to him. AC going to chance a move here into the final part of the lap. This is pretty much the last overtaking opportunity without any sort of shenanigans, as the Cadillac seems to have dropped back on this lap. Max Scavenger going using the track limits very well here, but it does seem like your race winner here will be Fridge, so long as he can not bottle in the last couple corners here. You know, oh my god, and Fridge has spun in the last corner. The commentator's curse. I am appalled. But Max Scavenger is going to come home to win. Your second place driver being Legitimate EX in the Cadillac. Fridge, having righted himself, will cross the line in third place. An absolute nightmare for him on the last lap. What a disappointment after clawing back from that tricky first stint and getting back into the lead of the race comfortably, hanging out in front while the Cadillac and Haas fought behind, but to lose it all in the last couple of corners, an absolute tragedy for Fridge Gamer. Lily from AT&T Limerence coming in fourth, Shawarma and What It Do in the Mercedes pair coming in fifth and sixth. I Constipated in the other Cadillac coming in seventh place, the Williams of Mr. E Fizzle in eighth, Nubbers in the McLaren in ninth, Mr. Hot Dog in the V-Carb in 10th, and Secret Cape in 11th. Unfortunately, Secret Cape possibly missing out on the last points scoring position. And then Nicolaus and Boilers Fan DNFing. You know, very unfortunate for them, but not unsurprising, as this is, you know, a lot of people's first time racing on No Assists. But what a fantastic, absolutely fantastic race that we have witnessed here. That was exhilarating. Felt like there was a lead change happening almost every single lap. But congratulations to Max Scavenger being in the right place at the right time to pick up that lead from Fridge's unfortunate mistake. A well-deserved win for him. He was leading for the majority of the race, just dropped off pace a little bit for a moment and did invite back in those front runners. But you know, as they say, as a wise man once said, you know, if, right? So Max Scavenger will be your race winner, barring any sort of penalties or anything like that. As far as I could tell, it was a clean race from the lot of them. A little bit of bumping, a little bit of hard racing, but nothing atrocious. So I think they all did a very, very good job, especially with being on No Assists. I think they all did a fantastic job, certainly better than what I could do. Your race winner will be Max Scavenger. Fastest lap will go to Nubbers, Legitimate EX picking up driver of the day, and Lily from AT&T picking up the cleanest driver. Limerence, you know, just a clean driver, you know, not getting into trouble. But once again, your race winner is Max Scavenger. Legitimate EX in the Cadillac will be in second, and Fridge Gamer, after that tragic spin into turn 13, will round out your podium. Going down the top 10, Limerence, Shawarma, What It Do, I Constipated, E-Fizzle, Nubbers, and Mr. Hot Dog rounding out the top 10. A great race from Mercedes, all things considered. Fifth and sixth is actually quite a good finish as compared to the Cadillac. Oh, well, no, the Cadillac getting a bit of a better finish, I think, with the second and seventh place. But let me check the calendar, and we can see what the next race will be. We'll be back next week at the same time, and I'll actually be here for qualifying. I won't start watching the race 500 years too late. So let's have a look at the No Assist schedule here. So first round is at Australia. Our second round will be June 21st at Canada. That'll be a good one. Going down the list here, we actually just pull this up for everybody to see. Going down the list here, we've got Belgium, then Austria, then Madrid. That'll be an interesting one. Bahrain, Great Britain, China, Italy, Azerbaijan, Coda, Monaco, Las Vegas, Abu Dhabi, and then Brazil to round out the calendar. A bit of a throwback with Brazil as the final track. I like to see that. So congratulations to Max Scavenger for the win. Good job to who was it on the podium again? It was I know Fridge was there, and then the Cadillac of, not sure what their name was, unfortunately. A Legitimate EX, apologies. Legitimate EX in the Cadillac, very, very good job. And so we will catch you guys next week for round 2. The VOD will be up very, very shortly, but if any of you guys who end up watching this have any pointers for me, this is kind of like my first time commentating. I think I did a pretty good job. Had a bit of energy, tried to not have any dead space in the commentating. Maybe it was a bit loud. Maybe I talk a little bit fast. So just let me know. But if you guys did end up watching, thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm trying to get into a little bit more commentating, so hopefully I can do more things like this in the future. But once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week for the second round of the Chronic Racing League No Assists.